Hello and welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoons, the weekly podcast that revisits, reviews, and ridicules some of the world's weirdest animated series. Coming to you from the Science Parade, I'll be your co-host, Dave Trumbore. Joining me as always, he takes tolls on the global space bridge, my co-host, Sean Paul Ellis. How's it going, Sean?
David. I'm doing well, buddy. How about
I'm
yourself?
good, man. Down here enjoying the Science Parade, lots of half-naked ladies, confetti going off. It's a pretty good time. How's business up on the space bridge?
Business on the space bridge is a little bit slow.
On the
I don't
space
have
bridge?
a lot of customers.
I feel like just a lot of
it's
weird vehicles and robots, strange stuff.
Yeah, and they only come around really once in a while.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of having a toll booth up here and sort of collecting a little bit of money, it just really doesn't. I don't know. I thought I had more interaction with the Transformers. It's sort of a bummer summer job for me right now.
I feel like you could use somebody to talk to. It's got to get pretty lonely down there. Do you have anybody in mind?
I do. I've got my buddy and coworker, artist painter Charlie Visconage is joining the show. Welcome, Charlie.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Pretty well. Yeah, this toll booth is, especially with the robots have Easy Pass. I mean, they don't even give you a hello.
Just blow right.
They don't even
us.
wave. There's literally no one in the driver's seat. So
Right. It's a little bit terrifying at first, but you get over
I
it.
would imagine that kid's driving a fire truck. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the contractual things that went into it, with signing some type of an agreement where we can't talk about the space bridge or we can't talk about this secret infrastructure.
And you're forced to live under the surface of the ocean. Isn't that a
Right,
Yeah.
and then every now and then just sort of jarringly pop out.
Oh yeah.
For them
No, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, no, it's rough.
Yeah,
Rough
it's
gig.
really really rough.
Yeah, that was a tough assignment from the temp pool there.
Yeah,
Wouldn't recommend
this is
doing that again.
Easy way. This is an easy way for Charlie and I to both say that we put in our 2 weeks notice with Optimus Prime, so we're done with this job. So we're moving on.
He seems like
I respect the guy immensely, but again, we were sort of sold a bill of goods on that.
Right.
He seems like he'd be an okay boss though. What do you think?
He's pretty aloof, I gotta say.
he?
I mean, I'm sure people he's hands on with, it's great, but
Yeah.
can't say I've seen the guy around.
I feel like he's probably busy, running around.
Is he really busy running around, or is he just busy kind of subletting as a fire truck for some cities?
Just municipal services
For generic cities. I feel like he spends more time actually just interfacing with small children in local parks, telling them about the history of alien races and interrupting battles to let the kids know whether or not he's a good guy or bad guy. That seems to be the majority of
that
his time.
seemed to be really important.
Yes, it's a very
I mean,
important
the
thing.
one thing is that we were introduced to this kid in question, this Koji, and I'm gonna say I'm a little bit jealous.
You jealous of
Guy gets a
Koji?
lot of face-to-face time with him.
A lot less with his dad, though, as we'll talk about.
It's a real deadbeat.
Bit of a balance there. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we're kind of talking Transformers, sort of. This is another installment in our Transformers month, of course, celebrating the fact that Transformers Combiner Wars is currently on Go 90 from Machinima and Hasbro. By the time you guys are hearing this, there should be about 3 episodes out. For the next week's episode, we are going to recap every episode that's available at that moment, and we will have that review for you. But before then, we're going to be talking about a different Transformers show tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Sean. He's going to give you a little bit of background on this one.
So we are talking about tonight Transformers Robots in Disguise, or Transformers Car Robots in Japan.
Good job, Japan.
This is the first Japanese original Transformers cartoon ever officially dubbed and broadcast for a U.S. audience.
Now that's,
as we've mentioned.
I want to interrupt
previously.
you because we have a very special connection to this show.
Yes.
Go ahead, buddy. Yeah, I think you know what I'm going to.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh,
I'm gonna steal your thunder.
we've interviewed voice actor Neil Kaplan on this show before, and he actually voices Optimus Prime in this show. So when he was talking to us for Voltron, he mentioned the difference between Voltron, which was written he read the script for Voltron that it was animated from, versus this series where it was already animated and dubbed in Japan, and then they had to come over here and write brand new script, tried to match the voices up with whatever the hell was going on screen, and then he had to supply the voice for that. So just a different kind of nuance in the voice acting realm. That's my aside. Back to you.
No. Very important. Because we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks, we've had Super God Master Force, and we've had the Headmasters, which have been Japanese originals for Transformers. And so biggest differentiation that we have is that this is the first one that was officially dubbed and then broadcast for a U.S. audience.
Exactly.
So, debuting about 18 months after its Japanese incarnation, it aired from 2001 to 2002 in support of the toy line of the exact same name. Car Robots was selected to fill the void that was left after Beast Machines, after another project was scrapped. For this reason, some fans consider this to be a filler series.
What would ever give them that impression?
I have no
idea.
It was aimed at a younger audience with a more lighthearted comedic tone overall and cell-based animation instead of CGI, which I think we can all chat a little bit more about.
Oh, we'll definitely talk about it.
Let's dog ear that. Yeah,
that'll come up.
Get back into that later on. Robots in Disguise legacy, however, was tainted by the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks, which occurred after only 2 episodes of the series had been broadcast. A scramble resulted to re-edit multiple episodes of the series before they reached air to remove scenes that were considered to be distasteful.
So just to put that into perspective, you've already got Japanese series, you're sending it to America for the first time, you're rewriting the entire script, you're redubbing the entire thing, and now after you've already done that, now you have to go in and then chop out a bunch of scenes and still try to make it make sense so that you just don't get yanked off the air for having things that are offensive. And that's like a real thing, because I was actually working Blockbuster at this time, and I remember, oh man, what the heck was the movie that came out around the same time that basically featured, like, it was Swordfish. So Swordfish featured a terrorist attack in New York City, and they pulled Swordfish from the shelves because it was like the week after September 11th. So they were like, we're not doing this. It's a PR nightmare. So we had to pull everything from the shelf and then like hide them away for a month or whatever, and then we could bring them back. So sorry, John Travolta.
Bro.
But these things.
Sorry, Halle Berry's boobs.
Sorry. Yeah, which was unfortunate. I mean, we still watched them as the employees. What are you gonna do? But yeah. So that's just weird to go back and think of that. 15 years ago, around this time, that's what was happening on this little kid show. And I cannot wait to talk about this first episode because there's a moment.
Well,
here.
yeah. So that's so interesting. So I didn't go all the way through the history, but I have something in my notes about that we should come back to too, where it's like there's a lot of destruction.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's a ton of stuff that's going on in this episode, and it seems to all really kind of center around this one city that's been, I don't know, destroyed throughout the process.
Yeah, pretty much.
But before this,
you want to know what the show's supposed to be about?
Yes.
Let's find out.
Tell us. Give me the synopsis of this.
All right. So when Earth is targeted by Megatron and his Predacons, now remember this is after Beast Wars, Beast Machines, so we're still stuck with Predacons. So Optimus Prime and his Autobots prepare for their coming by installing themselves in secret among human society, masquerading as everyday vehicles used by humankind with no knowledge of their true nature. When Megatron strikes and kidnaps famous scientist Kenneth Onishi, the Autobots ally with his son Koji to rescue him before Megatron can pry from his mind the truth of the ancient secret hidden somewhere on Earth. About as generic a synopsis as we can give you, but it's all kind of laid out in the first episode, which we'll talk about in a few moments here. Before we even get into the theme song tonight, I just want to check with you guys. Have you watched this show before? Were you familiar with it at all? Charlie, did you ever watch this before tonight? Did you hear about it?
No, I did not. But watched the first episode, and I don't know if I'm hungry for more, but it was definitely a unique Transformers experience.
Fair enough. I think they stamped that on the DVD cover of this thing. A unique
You might not want to watch more than one, but still buy this, please.
Sean, how about you, buddy? Have you watched this one before tonight?
I had no idea.
No.
I had no idea that this existed. I got interested in it and I began reading a lot about it once we talked to Neil Kaplan.
Yeah.
But he was really the anchor point for kind of wanting to focus on this episode.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? Any toys? Anything floating
You
around in the closet?
know what's weird when not to spoil anything, but Megatron in this episode, and I'm assuming for the series, has like 5 different transformations that he does. I had a Transformer. It was a Decepticon, and it was like Megatron colored that turned into like a 2-headed dragon thing, and I never knew what it was. I just knew that it the dragon heads and necks turned into its feet, and its head kind of flipped in and out of its chest. Maybe that was Megatron, but like I wouldn't have had that toy in 2001. I definitely had that when I was a kid, so I don't know if it was like an older an older model that was not Megatron and they just like repurposed it for this series or what. But if anybody out there knows what toy that is probably circa 89, 90 at the latest. So yeah, hit me up if you know what the hell toy I'm talking about.
From this loose and vague description of a toy that I used to own.
I guarantee
I don't actually still own it.
What that is. And he probably has it in like a sealed box just to the left of him. So
yeah,
please reach over
on
and tell me what it
the plastic gloves before touching it.
Yeah, definitely. Just in his.
Gotta be careful.
In his bunker.
Gotta make sure it's a mint.
It's a mint, whatever the hell toy.
Pass it on to your kids.
But no, I had no clue. And honestly, like this was more aimed toward kids, like you mentioned in the history. So at this time, graduating high school, heading off to college, don't think I would have been watching this one. I really want to know what little kids in Russia made of this one, though.
Because of our weird.
Because of last week's episode.
Because of last week's episode with Super God Master Force was the first episode that was shown in Russia, but it was shown out of sequence.
Right.
Oh.
And so kids in Russia were just like, I have no idea what this is.
No reference point for this at all.
I also want to say that I feel like kids in Russia, especially maybe during that time in their lives, maybe had other concerns that were going on.
I feel like they had it
That's
tough enough,
fair.
though, man. They didn't need to be like Transformer confused. That's just cruel. Way to go, Japan.
Well, we can't keep going and blaming Japan for all of our problems, Dave. But we can blame them for this.
Right.
We can definitely blame them for this.
Repeatedly.
Yes, and we will.
They
So we're all coming into this one fresh tonight. So the first thing you get hit with is, of course, the theme song. So now we watched two different versions of this. We watched the English one, which is very Americanized, and we watched the Japanese one, which is very Japanese. So, Sean, give me your first impressions of both, if you don't mind.
Man, I want to say that it looked like there was certain sequences that were used in both of these theme songs that were sort of very half-baked.
Okay.
And I don't really truly understand why they felt the need to put in additional stuff that sort of felt like it had the Beast Wars or Beast Machines aesthetic, but that was definitely not the art direction that they were going in.
Right.
So it sort of felt like it broke from style for me, that they had these maybe leftovers, or maybe they were things that, during the design process, they thought to themselves, like, you know what, we've been working on Beast Machines. We can create some of these guys using the CGI and the technology that we have. Right. So let's give that a shot and see if we like it. And then I want to say maybe halfway through, somebody was like, shut it all down. Yeah. Shut it the fuck all down. We are never doing that level of bad CGI again. You motherfuckers are cel shading all this stuff. And they were like, okay. And then but it's hard because like in both instances, there's a lot of this that's like cut in between. And so you get like these really interesting kind of like very bright sequences that are in this cel shaded animation, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I know this is for kids. Bright, really warm colors. Everybody looks very heroic. The bad guys have like much darker like tones and colors. There's like deep like blacks and purples that are used for them, and then suddenly it's like interspersed with like this like it looks like a college art project that somebody was like, oh man, that's due tomorrow. Yeah. And then
shit.
And they put it together like at the last fucking minute and then submitted it. And they were like, I hope this gets an A. And the teacher's like, you are failing. Like, you are clearly failing this class.
But we are going to put this on TV.
Exactly.
So you win?
Japan bought it and is going to put it on TV. So how do you feel about that?
How do you feel about that, Charlie? What do you think about these things?
I'm sure that person made their money and moved on. Yeah, it is baffling, the whole thing. And it's really setting up expectations that at least the first episode doesn't really deliver on. The other thing, I have a whole bunch of notes here. The only other one that I had, at least for the American one, is I know you guys were talking about robot voice in the G1 episode. Yep. And Sean and I were talking about this beforehand, but it was just like, whereas you might have had sort of a whisper of vocoder in the G1 kind of intros and in general, this is just like they cranked it all the way up to the point where it's... I've got a pretty high tolerance for the robot voice, but this is like, damn it, man, this is really annoying.
I think the fact that it was just like repetitive over and over and over again too. It wasn't like...
Yes.
They didn't use it a little bit and then pepper in something else like some narration or some exposition or like battle cries or transform or whatever. They just kept saying the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Robots.
Yeah.
It was just like
I
it
mean,
was
get
like
it.
a mosquito was singing the Transformers theme in your ear for. Luckily, it was only 30 seconds. Luckily, it was only about 30 seconds.
Really, Dave, did you have any solid opinions on this? Because I feel like there's something, and Charlie's hinting at it, and we need to talk about it.
Okay, no, go ahead.
Okay, these robots are not fucking in disguise.
No, yeah, they're pretty over.
Oh yeah,
I gotta
you
say.
look at it and you're like, that's a 30-foot tall robot. So
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know how you Autobots blended in for so long because I mean, you're just transforming at every opportunity. You're speaking to the people ostensibly driving you, and for the Predacons, I don't know where were they hiding.
no, nowhere.
Right.
Just in my nightmares,
Yeah.
like they're not even
Yeah.
even close. One's like a giant hand floating through space.
Right, yeah. Well, the Megatron, he's got many transformations in this.
That's like number 6 out of like the possible
Yeah.
ones that we saw
Yeah.
that were in this episode.
A hand,
It's
a giant purple
pretty
hand.
incredible. Giant purple hand.
Uh,
I don't even get that.
Now, the only reason I
But-
bring up the Japanese theme song though is because I always love Japanese translations of lyrics.
These are great.
So I'm not gonna go through all of them, but probably my favorite. Oh man, I don't even know. One of them is "Ringing into the faraway sky" is the exhaust note. That's fun because it doesn't make any sense.
Is that just like a jet engine sound?
Yeah, just
that
like
we're-
or just like a backfire. I have no idea.
It's just like these robots are polluting our planet.
Yeah.
Please ask them politely to leave.
I would watch that show.
Yeah.
Like Captain Planet versus the Transformers. Exactly.
And like the Autobots think that they're being sort of benevolent, but in reality they're just like, nah, man, you poisoned our water.
It's like, nah, guys, you're pumping out like a shitload of CO2. Like, we need you to cool it, and we need you to transfer over to battery power or solar. Sorry. No, that's pretty much
man.
it. Just a reminder from the Japanese version, they do call Optimus Prime Convoy. So if we slip into that every once in a while, it's because that's how he's known in Japan. He's known as Convoy. Or in this episode as Fire Truck Thing. So what a confusion. Poor Russian children.
Look, if Russian children weren't scared off by Super God Master Force and Beast Machines didn't throw them for a complete loop, and they're still on board at Robots in Disguise, bravo to you. I
Yeah,
think
we
that
got a couple super fans.
that
gotta
either
be, yeah.
officially makes you an American or a Japanese kid. Like, you get dual citizenship. We welcome you in at that point with open
Dual
arms.
robot
Oh, yeah.
cartoon citizenship.
Right, dual robot.
All right, so you want to get into Battle Protocol, the first episode of this mess?
Yeah, let's do this. This is weird.
Any cartoon that opens up with a few emergency vehicles responding to some fire somewhere that we never really see, aces in my book. That's a great opening. Please introduce me to characters I'll never see again and have no connection to.
But like, I wanted to know what that story was. Like, I was intensely confused, but committed to kind of creating that backstory in my head. Like, is that family okay? What are they up to?
We never
Right,
know.
yeah. Hope they have insurance.
Did they? They should have.
Homeowners.
Robot
yeah.
insurance. Irresponsible
I mean, I'm
robot
re-
insurance.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm rooting for that family. I want something to happen. But we have this kid waking up at like
Completely
the
separate.
crack of
It's
dawn.
completely separate kid, by the way. Nothing to do
Right.
with where this fire was. We are in Japan somewhere, which we don't figure out until
Right.
later. But because Japanese series, we are going to assume we are in a Japanese city somewhere. So this kid, he wakes up late, right?
Right.
For what?
The only thing that I had is that it's just like the note that I wrote was protagonist equals clumsy goof.
Yes.
Like he's just like, whoa, Koji's
It's just
stumbling around.
just the generic
But-
opening to like every anime ever. Like I feel like it was Pokemon, it was Digimon, it was
Mhm.
any Japanese kid ever late for his first day of school who knocks over his weird chibi character alarm clock. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, no, we continually have this trope of like dopey young kid
Yeah.
who then eventually proves himself
Sure.
Right, yeah.
and proves himself by not listening to what other people are telling
Right.
him to do. They're like, people like, bombs and things are going off, explosions are taking place, and everybody is looking out for his safety. And we've seen this time and time again in Transformers where people are like, don't do that thing.
Yeah.
And then the kid, whether he's a Witwicky or a Koji or a Master Force head-on thing, whatever, is just like, oh, no, I'm gonna
fuck
rush.
you.
Just
Gonna do
Doppler
that thing.
effect just gets like progressively quieter, and
But
you're just
he's
like,
looking back.
what is he doing? He's not even wearing a helmet.
Right.
But it's putting somebody like this in an unsafe situation where a larger battle is taking place.
Well, look, even before we get to that battle, this kid puts himself in the worst situations. That even if giant fighting robots, benevolent and villainous, were not involved, this is a
you
PSA.
talking about talking to strangers?
Talking to strangers.
Talking to
telling
strangers
your
on your cell
mom
phone?
You're going to a park in the middle of the night. Not getting into a car without a driver, without asking questions. There's a lot of suspect things this kid's doing.
I really like, so Optimus just happens to call you, and you're like, sure, I'm just go meet this strange robot
meet this
who
robot
could be
alien.
a predator, like a child predator in the middle of the night.
Thank you. I got that in my notes. I'm like, is Optimus Prime a robot pedophile?
He could be a Predacon.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's with the Predacons, it's like, so are we to understand that they've gone through like yet another time bubble a la Beast Wars, or they were just like, now we're feeling real lazy.
Oh man,
like,
wait,
y'all are Predacons.
Wait until we get to our user reviews because these fans, they go crazy.
They've got some issues with the timeline.
Oh, they're like, here's how it works, and then just hang in there for that. We actually had to edit our user reviews down this week because people went nuts.
Wow.
But before
some adults who are very
so
invested
I think
in
probably
this.
my favorite thing about Koji when we first meet this kid is that he's like super upset that he's late. So I expect him to like get dressed, run out of the house, actually go somewhere. The very next scene is just him sitting on the couch. So I'm just like, the fuck were you late for? What were we late for?
And he's got sort of a deadbeat mom.
Oh yeah.
It seems like sort of a Stranger Things situation where he's taking care of her, maybe. Or...
I think she had probably mental issues and maybe like substance abuse problems.
Oh my god.
She's just like in a road,
drunk.
doesn't say a word.
But again, and I don't want to keep harping at this, but it is that trope. We saw this back in March. We had a mom for Ash Ketchum that was like, you literally know not a fucking thing about Pokemon.
You're 10 years old.
You are 10 years old, and every time you see a Pokemon, which is something that you're passionate about, that you have invested your life into wanting to be the best at, you are always surprised at what they're doing. These are documented monsters that live in the world, you dummy.
And you're
you
terrible
should get
at
this. We saw this with Monster Rancher. That poor kid didn't even have parents. He just showed up, got sucked into a video game, and his parents were just like, I guess we had a kid, but now we don't.
Can we still write him off on taxes?
Or even if you go all the way back to something like Mobile Suit Gundam. I don't know if you guys have watched the original Japanese series.
It's been a while.
The main character has one like deadbeat mom, and then his dad made the Gundam, and it's like, I don't know, man. You could probably kill some people in it. Just try it.
Or it's like Neon Genesis Evangelion, where it's just all of their parents have died while working on the robots, and their like life force and like spirit is instilled inside of the Evangelion. And like when you finally realize that after like, because it's only 26 episodes long and then 3 movies, because you got plenty of time to catch up on that. When they finally hint at that, you're just like, oh my god, this.
I think what we've kind of put together from all this is that Japan has like some crazy parental issues.
Be better parents.
Either
guys.
they're never there or they're like always there as living sentient
super
robot bodies.
Right.
Look, if you're a parent and you are being a parent and you're doing a good job at it, kudos to you for being the all-star.
It's not easy.
Because these kids in cartoons barely even have parents.
You know what though? We've been harping on deadbeat substance abuse mom for a while, but dad's actually got it pretty locked up. He's like the keynote speaker of a science parade, which is what I want. I want to be a scientist in a science parade. I don't know what the hell's going on.
You just want
it
because it looks like there's half naked people.
It doesn't look
walking
like
around the
there
street.
are. There straight up are.
I also like how when they're sort of panning over the scientists from all over the world, they're just all like stereotypes of whatever country, where it's like, hey, look at this Eskimo scientist, or like, oh man, this British guy is just like drinking some tea. Now I can't tell you that's exactly what happened, but as they're panning across, it's just like, oh God,
man, if I have to watch one more cartoon with a stereotypical Eskimo scientist, I'm just gonna quit entirely. I'm sick of it. They're everywhere.
He only studies ice.
They're overrepresented. Drives me nuts. But no, so we learned that we're in New York, right? And we're in New York for the first
Right.
International Science Symposium, which for whatever reason, they have this huge parade down like Broadway or Main Street or whatever you think it is. It's basically like the Brazilian festival with like all these colors and like costumes and like all kinds of crazy stuff. And you're just like, this is a science symposium. Like,
This is kind of optimistic though, because
super
now we're in
optimistic.
a world where science is lauded, as a thing that's worthy of a parade.
And attention.
Figure.
Yeah. I love this.
Right. Yeah.
As like someone trained in science, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm super behind this. And then it turns into sort of this like environmental thing where you learn that it's about the way we use energy. And basically his dad, you learn that this is Koji's dad, Dr. Onishi. He basically starts talking, he says, right now, the greatest danger to planet Earth is the inefficient and improper use of energy. Now that's great for the split second that is the greatest danger to Earth. Because literally, like a fraction of a second after that, a giant robot hand just smashes through a building. So that is now the greatest danger.
Have you ever had a conversation with somebody that you sit down with them and you look them in the eye and you're just like, look, I need to communicate something with you that's like really, really, really important about things that are going on with me and these things, and your friend responds by being like, holy shit, Warped Tour tickets just went on sale right now. I gotta go right now. I gotta run. I gotta Ticketmaster all this stuff, and I gotta figure all this out. And you're just like, but you're missing the point. I'm trying to communicate to you and tell you that there's this bigger thing, and I need you to understand what this relationship means to me. And they're just like, yeah, but tickets online. You're missing the point. That's what this show is. Like, it posits this great idea, but then it's like, let's just go blow up some buildings.
Right, yeah. Surprise, big old hand just slaughtered all these people who work in an office. Like, they have a crappy enough day job, and then one of several transformations has just like lopped off all their heads as it's coming through.
Just slowly moving through the building as a giant purple hand.
Yeah.
Because of the history that we talked about, so this episode, it came out in Japan, 1999, but it came out in America like a few days before September 11th, 2001. So I'm sitting here watching this with that knowledge, thinking like, fuck, like if I was like a 5 or 6 year old kid and I was watching this series, then when 9/11 actually happened, I would probably think back to a few episodes ago where I just saw Megatron and his cronies destroy a shitload of buildings in New York. My brain would probably be like, robots are real, Predacons are here, they're laying waste to New York, and you would freak the fuck out. I mean, it's scary enough to begin with, but...
No, it is. Yeah. It's really frightening. Guys, I just want to throw it out there. George W. Bush hired Megatron to commit 9/11.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most sound conspiracy theory you'll hear on this show.
Yeah, and I think we can all agree, it's not like Predacon fuel can melt steel beams. Well, see, again, not knowing this, one of my notes I literally have, Megatron is really 9/11 in New York City.
Yeah, Japan knew about it.
Without having that knowledge?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Oh, man.
Japan knew about 9/11 18 months in advance is what I'm taking from this.
Yeah.
It's funny, if you go back and watch the tape, you can actually see the plane transform into a Decepticon right before
Son of a bitch.
It's fucked up, man.
Was it Darkscream?
It's Darkscream. Yeah. He transforms right before he hits it. You never see him again. Which explains, because he's an alien and he's got all that energon, it explains why the building came down, because the temperatures were more extreme than simple. I can't even fake my way through this alone. I can't even
hashtag loose change, y'all.
It's such a crock.
Sound off in the comments if you agree.
Decepticons, yes. All right, moving on. So as they lay waste in New York at this point, pretty bad.
It's really challenging just because you see all of this stuff and you see all this confusion that's going on in this cartoon. Now, we understand. We understand that for budgetary reasons, like, they can't show a background image of hundreds of people, like an entire crowd of people running out of the way. But I just want to give everybody just like a quick pro tip that if there's ever anything that happens to you, there are 3 things that you have to remember. 1, run as far away from the problem as you can.
Don't film it. Don't
2,
get your damn phone out.
Don't get your damn phone out. Run away. Get to safety. 2, and I'm being serious with this PSA here. 2, if you can't run away, hide. 3, if you can't hide, get ready to fight.
Yeah, fight robots.
That's how you handle these situations. And like it's crazy just because, as we're mentioning, as Charlie and David are saying, like this hand is just bursting through this building, and everybody at this International Science Symposium is just like, what science is
Well,
this?
even the reporter's like, now there seems to be a large hand appearing through the building.
She's
Let's
like,
see
yes,
what
I got a
happens.
scoop.
Like, no, get the fuck
Fox
out.
News is real chill about this.
Right,
Well,
yeah.
they started blaming
You'd really think
Obama.
the
It was really
anchors-
strange.
You think the anchors would be like, oh yes, scoop. If it bleeds, it leads, baby. Come on.
Oh God, this is gonna be my Pulitzer.
Right, yeah, mommy's gonna take home some awards.
But they have all these things that's like going. They have this hand that is just crushing through the middle of this building, just crushing it, and in the process, like you don't see people scatter, you don't see anything happen. So presumably, any of the debris that's falling from the building is crushing all these people. So already, this scene right out of the get go is carnage, and everybody seems to be frozen in
Everybody's
place.
super chill. All the scientists are still on stage. Everybody's hanging out, just watching this giant hand thing float towards them. Which,
And so
like we mentioned, what does it turn into?
turns
It's
into Megatron.
It's like Transformation Zero Megatron hand. Okay. It's not like Megatron's hand. It is Megatron. So there's a giant hand that turns into Megatron. Yeah.
So Megatron, from this hand, transforms somehow into the Megatron that we all know and love,
More or
and
less.
have
Yeah.
loved to hate.
Fear.
Yeah, right. And so he turns into this, and he
So that's transformation number 2. Normal, straight up normal kind of looking humanoid Megatron.
thank you.
Right.
And so in this moment, he realizes that he is here for Dr. Onishi.
Right.
He is the scientist that they've been studying. They've intercepted some transmission about what he knows in terms of energy and its usefulness on planet Earth.
Right.
And he is like, you are the guy that we are going to suck these secrets out of.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just destroyed
So-
all these buildings and scared the shit out of all these people just to like pick you up. Now remember, Koji's watching from back home, wherever
Right.
he is. We still don't 100% know where he is because geography kind of screws up the plot at some point here.
So in this moment,
yeah, what would you do
I mean,
what would you do if you saw your dad on TV? He was giving a speech, and then a giant hand came and tried to abduct him.
this was actually relatively relatable. Like I can understand this. Like
Ew.
Koji picks out
Okay,
his little cell phone, his little flip phone, his LG Flip,
his Tamagotchi.
and opens it up and dials his dad.
Sure.
And this actually, like this, without like a ton of context about what's going on and not knowing that this is like a children's cartoon, this moment is actually kind of creepy. It's kind of frightening because you hear his dad and he just goes, "Listen closely."
He's
And
like,
it's, static
Koji,
in the
whatever
back.
you do. And then it just cuts
He's like,
out.
no, Dad.
Yeah. And then it's like static.
Yeah.
It's
Now, granted,
silence,
he's still
which-
watching them on TV, so you think he
Right.
can like put 2 and 2 together, but
Right,
my,
but that's
possibly my
kinda-
favorite part of the entire episode happens next.
Get into it.
I want to give this one to Charlie because he's got some good lead-ins, I think, here. So
Well, yes. So this is the part in which where Optimus is just like jumping in on the line and be like,
Well,
"Hey,
it was-
bud."
it was before he jumps in on the line. I love the cue that they give you for it because like Koji's, or is that even his name? Yeah, Koji's all upset, and he's like, because his dad is basically, as far as he knows, just like murdered into paste at this point. So he's like, he has his phone open, and he's getting all emotional. He's like, I really just need someone to help me get to my dad, and like a single tear rolls off his face and hits the answer screen of his phone. At which point, Optimus Prime's face just shows up, and that's the first time you see him in the entire episode, and I completely lost it at that point, because it was like, Optimus Prime answered the tears of a child. Just like, that's his call, his siren call.
Like wherever a child is crying. Yeah, so then he's like, "Hey, bud, you wanna meet me later? Just like in a field,
Just like in a park at like midnight?
in a bar,
In 5
Yeah.
minutes?
And he's like, "Yeah, definitely want to
Yeah.
do that."
Not gonna tell my junkie mom, just gonna leave her ass behind?
Right, yeah. Hey, mom, I'm leaving. Not like you'd notice, but
Yeah, meet me at the edge of Metro Park in 5 minutes. And you're like, whoa, settle down. We just started talking.
bring
You just
20s.
answered my tear phone. Like,
Right.
give me a few minutes here.
This is a good time to go and sort of explore the idea that maybe Koji's dad understood that Japanese electronics can run off of tears.
Yeah, it's probably like the salt water somehow powered it, connected him.
Right.
directly to
Well,
Optimus.
so yeah, maybe overall in the series, this is where we're getting at with the energy issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we just, had a lot of sad, depressed people all the time, pumping the machines.
Guys, you are your own power source.
Yeah, you should know this.
Have you ever tried crying on top of an iPhone?
I mean,
You got to get the one
do
from
that
like
tonight.
Lil Wayne where he pours the champagne bottle.
Yeah,
on.
the Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah. Then you're all set.
Free plug.
So now we learn what Optimus has been up to, right? So other than answering the tears of children and inviting them to parks in the middle of the night, strange.
Yeah.
We learn
What's Optimus's part-time job right now?
Part-time job is apparently being the cab of a fire truck and transporting firemen to a non-existent fire that we never see, and then just leaving them at the scene of the fire to inexplicably just go off and meet some child in a park. More or less.
And they're
what
like, wait a
happens in the
minute, that truck just talked to me. It's like, dog, you tripping balls right now.
That was a translation. He says, I think all that smoke is making you loopy. But yeah, he's like, you straight tripping balls.
Right.
You crazy. You crazy.
God, but like I can't believe that in this moment we have like good guy Optimus who's like, pardon me, firefighter, I need to commandeer this vehicle and take off for a little while. Don't worry,
vehicle.
I'll return it safe and sound to the firehouse
And that's
later.
what I was like, no, it's you. You are the vehicle. Like, what are you doing? Like, even the trailer behind you is like got your weapons and shit on it. That's not for the fire truck. That's you.
Well, yeah, it's interesting who he does and does not choose to reveal this kind of information to. It's like, nah, grown adults fine. Like a child, they'll totally keep your secret.
Well,
as long as you keep this secret between us with our tier pact.
Yeah.
But Charlie brings up a great point, though, is that we have this moment where there are these firefighters who are presumably fighting this fire. They didn't show up just for shits and giggles. That's taxpayer money.
Right.
Like, somebody's going to complain about that and write a strongly worded letter. But these people are there, and they're on the scene, and suddenly their fire truck that had all their equipment and hoses is like deuces. And like just bounces out of this entire fucking scene.
They had all their naked lady calendars tacked up inside.
But like, you have to realize that like the guy's coworker is just like, I think the smoke's getting to you, Doug. Like, maybe take some time off after this fire.
Like, did no one else see the fucking truck that we showed up in?
Yeah.
Was no one else here?
Our mode of transportation and our tool that we need to do our job just left. It talked to me and was like, hey, I got another thing that's more important than this burning orphanage right now. So
yeah, I got a birthday party.
I got to meet some kid in the park because he's crying. What? Wait, what?
I have to answer my tear phone.
I got to answer my tear phone.
Son of a bitch.
Pretty sure some people are crying inside of this burning building.
And speaking of taxpayer money, that thing's like $750,000 that just rolled out.
Yeah.
Fuck. But anyway, long story short, so creepy Optimus rolls up to a park, picks up a kid in the middle of the night. The kid's like, yeah, sure, I'll jump in this riderless fire truck vehicle with an alien robot.
And then he's like, wait a minute, we can't drive across the ocean. Oh, great.
This was right after like the tentacle seatbelts locked him in.
Whoa! Yeah, also horrifying.
Did anybody want that to get like a little sexier than it did?
It probably did in the Japanese
version. You want it to be like liquid tentacles, like making a lot of slurping sound effects.
It probably just like ripped off his clothes and then fused to his body and made him like some kind of like weird techno suit.
Like in his butthole and
definitely seatbelt and butthole.
Yeah. Because we do see at some point during one of the two different intros, it looks like there is some type of a kid that's wearing like a helmet in something. And so I was like, in that moment I was like, oh, are they gonna age this kid like 15 years and like suck off his clothes and then put like a battle suit on him and throw him into combat right away? I was like, well, Koji, welcome. You are getting a crash course on how to be a Transformer today, buddy.
Welcome to alien stuff. But I mean, we do meet a weird character later that is like kind of a humanoid, but also an artificial intelligence. We'll talk about her in a second. But
sure.
I mean, it's basically the same kind of thing. Could have happened to Koji. But let's just gloss over the fact Koji's out by himself in the middle of the night, got into a strange car with a weird alien robot, and he's now heading to New York. But Charlie, what was the problem with him getting to New York?
Well, they can't go across the water to get there. But luckily for everyone, there's an infrastructure set up. I guess we're talking that it was financed and built by the Autobots called the Global Space Bridge, which opens up like out of the Earth to go through the center of the Earth to reach other locations, which let's just talk about this for a second. If their main thing is like helping humanity, it would be great. The greatest infrastructure project ever made. Yeah. Like we would put the airlines out of business. Yeah. We'd be able to like drive from New York to Tokyo in
like 5
minutes. Yeah. But they're like, and then Optimus is like, also keep this secret. Like,
Yeah,
this
that
is,
was so
we're
creepy.
looking at like abuser behavior. It's like, if you tell your deadbeat mom, I'll kill you. Like,
Pretty fucking creepy. Pretty creepy.
yeah, no, it's terrifying.
But guess what? As far as writing and plot goes, what a fantastic way to get them from point X, which we have no
very
idea where it
easy
is,
Deus Ex
to New
Machina.
York in a matter of seconds. And
Mhm.
keep in mind that Megatron is still like terrorizing, like literally he terrorizes himself as his transformation, but he also terrorizes the gathered scientists that are still waiting at this symposium. So now we get to see Megatron's third transformation. How would you describe this? Because it's like a weird mashup of a couple different creatures.
I wrote down double Anubis heads.
Fair.
Just
I
trying
know
to
this
scroll.
is before like the dual dragon head. So this is like the
Oh.
winged. It's like a bat
This is like the bat.
with like a wolf
Oh,
face.
yeah,
yeah, it's like a bat. So this is
Sorry, there's
transformation.
so many to keep track of.
This is transformation number 3.
Yeah, this is 3. We got hands, we
yeah.
got humanoid, and we got bat wolf face.
Got it.
And with
That's
bat wolf
right.
face, he has his sonic pain wave, which he uses to incapacitate
boy.
the scientists and knock them to the ground.
It's really, he's on the forefront of non-lethal weapons technology.
Yeah, it's like an LRAD.
Right.
Take that,
It sounds
hippies.
like Metallica coming at them.
Yeah, which is like I'd totally hang out with that Megatron.
Ah,
Probably my second favorite scene of this particular episode is what happens next. Then, as they launch out of the global space bridge.
right. So they launch out, and Optimus is like, Koji, I need you to stay in the trailer.
He's
I need you
like-
to stay in the.
He's like, look, bro, I answered your tier call. I kidnapped you in a park. I transported you through the center of the earth. But now shit's actually dangerous. So you need to
Right.
just stay back in the caboose here.
So he throws him back in the caboose. The front part of this fire engine shoots off.
Yep.
And in a moment, because it looks like this is where I was like, I don't understand actually what's happening
Okay.
in terms of the Z axis on this, because we have Bat Megatron
Yep.
floating in the sky using his pain wave, and then we have Optimus. And Megatron's like floating in the sky, presumably like 50 feet in the air.
Yeah,
or
he's pretty
something
high
like
up there.
that. And so then we have Optimus, who comes in at, like, let's say at street level, so like
Yeah.
at 0.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Physics.
he shoots off and rockets, and then at some point, as the front of this fire engine, then there's like a frame where suddenly it's the front of the fire truck, not transformed into Optimus
Nope.
yet, that smashes that 50 feet. So there's a clearance of 50 feet that's left unaccounted for, because there's really no ramp.
It was in the Japanese
just,
cut.
like,
Well, maybe the space bridge popped out to turn into a sweet jump.
Yeah,
But they just
honestly.
didn't have the budget for it.
They're kids. They're smart. They'll piece it together.
Oh yeah.
And this is that moment where Megatron hasn't pieced it together yet. He's like, he's like, oh, these humans are getting so insolent. Like, they're taking so many steps, like, I will crush you. And then all of a sudden, Optimus is like, nah, bro. And I don't know why it's such a big surprise. I guess I just don't understand why Megatron is, like, they are doomed to have this dance forever.
And they recognize each other.
Right. No,
Right.
they've definitely met before, so
Yeah.
this isn't like an origin story.
No, not at all. It's actually really kind of like subdued because they're both just like, oh, apparently Optimus Prime is now here.
Hey,
He's
man,
like, I'll
how's-
take you
how's it
down,
going?"
Megatron. Once again, you will not blah blah blah. And it's like even they're bored with it. Like we've done this before.
Yeah.
I don't fucking
Yeah.
just knock it off.
Oh,
Let's just
God.
get over this.
Fine.
I love that he hit him with a truck though. He just drove a truck
Right.
into him basically. And Megatron just
But-
laughed it off. He's like, you humans think you can hit me with a truck?
I think that, along with the truck and sort of this like crazy moment, we then have this crazy moment
Ugh.
where Koji, and I think that this is what Dave was pointing
This
at
drove
and,
me
and
nuts.
suggesting is his favorite moment,
No,
is that
this drove me nuts.
this drove you nuts?
Yeah,
Okay.
because
so
you got to
Dave-
remember, keep this in mind, right? Megatron and Optimus are squaring off. Now, in any other series, any other movie, anything that you've ever seen, how often do they just stand there and have like a casual conversation? Pretty much never, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, that's happening,
They're-
and then they cut back to Koji. Go ahead, Sean.
I mean, they're just, and you're right. Every time you're introduced to these two characters in any situation, it's always combat. They're always tussling, and it's just metal tussling, just metal on
Just
metal, and so
couple
they're going
guys
at it. And so
wrestling.
in this instance, it almost seems like they're kind of brokering a deal. And Koji looks at this and is just like, "Wait, you're a robot? That means you're bad." And that's like pretty much what he says. And in this
Out
instance,
loud, out
again,
loud, by the way.
Yeah. like out loud inside of Optimus's butt.
Pretty much.
And Optimus is like his butt responds, and he's just like, "No, you need to understand."
Oh yeah, so he takes a FaceTime
Yep.
call in the middle of all this
He
happening. He's like,
basically says to Megatron, like, yeah, just let me pause here, and then
yeah,
I'll get back.
Megatron, bro, just one minute, dude.
Yeah, let me talk to this kid that's hanging out in my butt. I got him hidden back there. Just give me a second.
And he gets into the whole thing of saying, like, essentially, like, look, Autobots are good, Predacons are bad. You know, I'm an Autobot. I'm here to protect you. I'm here to save your dad. And he's just like, oh, okay, cool.
That was a nice, that
Like,
was a
and
sweet
that's-
rhyme, Optimus. Sweet rhyme.
And that's like it. That's like the whole big thing. But this next part became my favorite portion.
Well, hold
of
on.
This.
Was it while Optimus was distracted teaching the kid right from wrong robots that Megatron was powering up his cutter beam to just like
Oh, yeah.
annihilate?
Everything has a special name.
Oh, everything's
for,
got a
for
name.
their weapon,
And it has to be
their
screened or it
gun.
doesn't. It's not effective.
Yeah, the cutter beam, blade bender, and so.
Boy.
But it was moving past all of these things, like, you know, because again, this is Japanese made, and so all of these magic powers or all of these like guns and weapons that they have, everything has to have a cool code name
Yep.
on it. But you know what also has a cool code name?
What's that?
Henchman.
Henchman. Now, before we get to the
Henchman.
henchmen, because Megatron will call them in, but before he does, we get a fourth transformation from Megatron.
Ooh, do we? Is this the dragon thing?
This is a two-headed whatever Anubis
Yeah,
dragon
the
thing.
double-headed dragon, which sort of looks like a whatever that Godzilla villain was.
Oh, yeah, it
like
looks like
Gygus or something
Yeah.
like that.
or Ghidra or whatever. Yeah, Mecha Ghidra.
It seemed a little bit lazy, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Come on, Japan.
It also kind of seemed like it was pandering to like the whole kaiju stuff
Yeah.
from
Oh, yeah.
the Godzilla franchise, just in general. It was
Because
just
there's
like,
no
we're
reason
just
for him to
gonna make-
transform. There's literally no
No.
reason. Like, he doesn't have any extra anything.
No,
He just has two weird
he's
heads.
just bored at this point.
And it was creepy the way he transformed too, because like he just stuck his feet out and they like broke in half and snapped over backwards, and all of a sudden they were like
Ugh.
dragon heads. Like, all right, so you're doing a handstand, you broke your own feet, and now you're a dragon. All right,
It's like
I'll
he's
buy it.
possessed.
Like, but I get the feeling like what you both are saying is that at this point, Megatron was so bored with this, he's just like, how many things can I turn
How
into?
many-
He's like,
I
hey,
am-
whoa, look at this one.
Just gonna rack up new numbers, going for a PR today.
That's right. He's been working on his yoga. He's feeling real flexible today. Time for two-headed dragon foot stance.
But we
Okay,
get-
so henchman, go ahead, buddy.
We get into these henchmen.
Right.
We get a frog that's called Slapper.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember how long his
Not
tongue
making-
is?
It's long.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
It's 42 feet and 3 inches, but
Is that how much they say it is?
it'll come up later.
I was more blown away by just all of these because
The names are
gas skunk.
the worst and best name at the same
Worst.
time. Gas
And then
skunk.
we get Dark Scream, which presumably is the
It's
Star Scream
yeah.
of this series.
This terrible universe. Yeah.
And you know what these henchmen come with?
What's that?
About 1,000 split screens.
Yeah, they really do.
Non-stop fucking split
All the
screens
splits.
over and over. They have split screens within split screens
Mhm.
of split screens, and you're just like, guys, just settle down.
They should have just been
I don't-
called, like, collectively, just should have just been called split screens.
Yeah.
The henchmen are the split
Like-
screens.
Can you assholes slow down for a second so we could just get all of you into the frame, please?
Right. But you know, with bringing in any henchmen,
Yeah, because now
Gotta bring in
it's
some
4-on-1, except Megatron's
Right.
off stumping around doing his own thing, trying to
Right.
I'm just trying to kidnap this doctor. Optimus keeps fucking
he's had
shit up.
so much time to kidnap this
Yeah,
doctor.
he's
and
laying there.
not doing
He's
it.
literally just laying there. Pick him up.
Yeah. He's like, knock the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like, just grab him, pick him up, put him in another transformation that
Put him
inevitably
in your
you're
butt
gonna
like
become
Optimus
shortly.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, just throw him in
Oh
there.
yeah,
but
that's the fifth transformation, by the way. Yeah.
yeah, it's the fifth one.
Yeah.
But before you can do that, we got to bring in some good guys, guys.
We know because it's 3-on-1. You need to even this out.
We
here.
need some support. Who wants to do the roll call?
Well, hold on. First, we got to get random android lady that's hanging out in Optimus's butt. To
yeah,
what? To what?
I didn't. I looked at that and I was just like, you know what? They'll explain this later
No.
if I decide and choose to watch this.
No.
But right now, I'm just gonna roll with
It's
this.
basically
Like,
Nurse Joy.
That's not a Transformers pun. Like I just gotta roll with these punches because there's a lot of
There's
them.
no choice.
Yeah.
Nurse Joy literally comes out of nowhere and just like calls on
Yep.
3 different Autobots. Okay.
She's like, these are all in your area. Okay, great.
Yeah, he's like a
so what?
quadrant 7.
Are they
sector
Uber
3
drivers in the
alpha.
nearby?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ooh, looks like Surge, guys. Sorry.
Do you want to pay for
Just like, fuck. yeah,
Transformers Uber X?
Do you want to share an Autobot or do you want your own?
They're like, what do I look like, a poor person? I mean,
let's just share 3 Autobot brothers. How does that sound?
oh god, I love the Autobot brothers. Like Derek Autobot, Chris Autobot, Greg Autobot.
At this point, they're not even trying with these
Yeah,
names.
you're just
they're
like,
not.
I don't know, man.
They
Whatever,
formed like a
fuck.
weird like boy band back in the 90s. And they all had long
Turned
hair.
into a sweater vest.
It's really strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Autobot brothers. Go ahead, Sean. You got our roll call for us there?
Oh man, we got Prowl, who
Fine.
is a police car.
I'm okay with that. Prowl's a good name.
We have Sideburn.
Not feeling Sideburn. That's like a
Not
haircut.
feeling the name.
That's a weird thing for a
like
car. Weird
it's like
for a car.
it's too close to mutton chop for me.
It's like a
or
facial,
another.
yeah, like a hairstyle or like a facial thing should not be a Transformers name ever.
But he's like a sweet blue hot rod.
He's kind of a
His
horn
was
dog,
pretty
though.
cool.
Yeah.
like a
Oh man.
horny
Yeah. I like
teenage
him.
robot.
I like him. I like Sideburn a lot for
I'm-
being a horny
I'm-
transformer.
Sure you do.
Well, the thing is, I really felt like, just as a general aside, like all of the transformations, like they're all pretty sort of svelte and like almost sexualized robots. Like they've all got sort of like tight athletic bodies, whereas in the previous ones they're like
None of
more
these
boxy
fat
and functional.
diabetic robots are running around.
Right? Yeah. No, these guys are going to CrossFit and then like trying to smash on RoboTinder.
I will give you
Was
this.
I the only
I
one
like
who
their
picked up on that?
transformations, and I do
Okay.
like the design. I like the style of these guys. They all look pretty cool. Even the Predacons, they look pretty cool. So the animation was decent. They all have a cool look to them. I actually like Optimus's design because he's kind of got like it's almost like a Spartan warrior helmet as like
Yeah,
a
that
head.
does look
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
It's
cool.
kind of more streamlined, but he's got like that central kind of blade thing. They do have a really neat design. We've been ragging on the show for like nonstop for the last hour, but like I do actually like the design of each of these bots. The names are silly.
Yeah.
The writing is pretty bad because of all the translation issues. The voice acting is actually pretty solid, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
the plot just makes it's fine. It just is goofy because of the translations. So that's the good things I'll say about it. And now we can get back to ragging on it.
We have one more
Yeah, who's
one more Autobot transformer,
Yeah.
and this was the name that I guess I had never really encountered or come across. Like Prowl, I've heard of before.
Yeah.
Sideburn, I was like, okay, like I can get behind this. Like that makes sense. X Brawn, like the
X-Brawn.
letter X Brawn.
Yeah.
Like is he an extreme brawn?
Sure.
Because honestly, like for
He's a
X Brawn, you would
former-
think like, oh,
Former
like sweet,
bouncer.
like he turns right, like he turns into like a badass car, like an H2 or something like that.
It's like a Geo
you know?
tracker.
Or yeah, he turns into like a Geo fucking tracker. Like it makes no sense. Like it really, like it's a weird car. And then while they're doing this, they're all syncing up in the middle of the road, and they're just like, "We got to hit up that warp bridge again."
Yeah, hold up.
Not a
Hold up,
secret
though.
infrastructure.
Hold up though, brah. Before we get to Global
What?
Space Bridge. Look, Prowl's fine. He's around by himself doing cop stuff. He actually pulls over
know.
Sideburn. What's X-Brawn up to, though? He got a lady in the seat.
Yeah, he got a lady in the seat.
What are you going to do with that lady? You got to go off and save the world. What are you going to do with that lady?
Get her the fuck out of that car.
You going to eject the
Hey,
seat
sorry,
her
baby.
ass?
This is where our ride ends.
He literally just
You need
says
to-
you're going to have to catch a cab, hits the ejector seat button, launches her into the sky, and she just
You're
falls
gonna have to
down
get
on a
off
parachute.
here and leave too.
How many Geico claims do you think are filed a year just based
Just
on
based on
people just being
Autobots?
Like, my car was a transformer, and it politely told me to get the fuck out.
Dude, I keep
You're
waiting
like,
for
we're gonna
mine
need to send the
transform.
inspector out to make sure this is a real claim.
Yeah.
But do you have Autobot insurance? Was a point that Charlie brought up earlier. I really think this needs
Right,
to
yeah.
happen.
In this world, the insurance company who does that first, they're really gonna profit
Oh, yeah.
big time.
Because it's gonna happen.
They just can't get in the business of paying out too many claims. But
I
that's
mean, look,
really getting in weeds.
the fire company already had to file a claim because their engine just straight drove off without them. The lady with the parachute had to file a claim.
Right? Yeah.
That's already two in one episode. So I mean, you do the math.
You do the math.
All right,
We get all these guys together.
on
hit
the
up that
Rainbow
sweet-
Bridge.
Yeah, we hit all the ring god. So they warp in the middle of the street again. Shh! Don't tell anybody.
Don't-
Don't
Right.
don't let the humans know.
Don't tell anybody.
Because it's not like we're at an international science symposium
Mm-hmm.
where we've revealed ourselves and suddenly we're just like, hey, but this sweet road infrastructure, let's just keep that our little secret.
Until it pops
Our
out of the
little-
ocean.
Our little secret, guys.
Hey, Sean, you know
Today-
what, bub?
What's up, bub?
If you were as good at fighting as you are at flirting, the Predacons wouldn't stand a chance.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
Yeah. Sideburns.
Yes.
All right.
God, these
So we get these idiots
we-
to New York, yeah?
get these idiots in New York. We get some battles that are going on. I don't know. Anything notable about this?
I mean,
there was
the
some,
kid does another stupid kid thing, like you mentioned earlier, where the kid is basically like, he sees all these giant fighting robots. He also sees his dad just like passed out in the middle of it. So he decides the best thing to do would be to run straight through the middle of all this. So, of course, like Optimus gets distracted. He gets kind of temporarily taken down by the 3 Predacons. But the kid gets saved by X-Brawn, luckily. He gets basically train botted from an earlier episode that we talked about. He gets train botted to safety. So the kid puts everybody else in danger, but he gets rescued and taken to safety again.
And the kid just keeps, this isn't like the only moment. The kid continues to run
He's the worst.
towards his dad.
Right.
Because in that moment, like suddenly Optimus is fighting with Megatron. And he's sort of in a position where like, oh no, like Megatron might win.
Yeah.
And suddenly the kid shows up and is like, stay away from my
Yeah,
dad.
Megatron, you're real mean. And
Yeah.
Optimus is like, I know I told you not to do that shit, but actually, great job.
Yeah, great timing. You distracted him just long enough for him to break this whatever spell he had on me.
It's also, I was able to load up my giant fist on the back of my
Oh
caboose.
man, this fist, what
and
was it?
shoot
Flying
my,
fist.
and shoot my fist over and just punch
Punched him.
Megatron, just like punch him right in the fucking-
Megatron just sat there looking at it for minutes, straight minutes. Just watch this thing come in. I would like to mention real quick that the other guys, so obviously the 3 bad guys and 3 good guys square up. The good guys, when they transform, X-Brawn gets a little extra yell, so he gets to yell yeehaw for fun. Sideburn gets to yell let's dance for some reason. Prowl doesn't yell anything. He's very straight-laced. He's not, he's an efficient man. Doesn't yell anything else. I mentioned that Slapper's tongue is 42 feet 3 inches long. I only know this because X-Brawn actually tricks him into measuring his own tongue so that X-Brawn can drive up to the rooftop so he can launch off of it and then shoot back down at Slapper.
Yeah.
This is a mess of a show at this point. The writing is just a complete mess, the
I would
stuff
say
they do,
that's
but it's very
accurate.
funny. Do you remember what Dark Scream turns into as far as his beast mode?
So that was,
What
It's
is
sort of
that
like
thing?
an evil flying squirrel,
flying
so
squirrel.
far as I could tell.
That's what I wrote. That's what I wrote.
It's a flying squirrel. Just the worst possible thing.
It really looked super janky.
It was
Guys,
really bad.
I'm face palming this show so hard.
That was the
It's hard not to.
only like transformation animation thing I didn't like when they turned him into a flying squirrel. I was like, this is now terrible.
Because he looks like a stupid sugar glider.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
sugar
Just
glider.
kind of like
Just got like big
hovering
eyes
down
and like
he's like, guys, I'm coming for you. I'll be there eventually
And then
based
just,
on
like,
this gust of
blam.
wind.
yeah, I've got no propulsion of my own, but I'll eventually meet you. Terrible.
Stupid.
So, but I mean, obviously they're gonna save the day and they're gonna rescue the dad and the kid's gonna be fine, right? They're gonna beat the.
No.
Wait, what do you mean?
Oh, they're not gonna rescue the
They're not gonna rescue the dad. Then what the hell's the point of this whole episode?
It's to set up future episodes,
Oh
bro.
shit! So
And
now I gotta
also
watch,
the
like, however
emptiness
many
of
more these there were.
Existence.
The emptiness of existence,
Yeah,
Charlie?
no, they're just trying to teach kids casual nihilism. They're just like, hey,
I'd
sorry,
love it
bro,
if the
but
series just ended there. Like Optimus was just like, your dad's gone.
he's just like, sorry, kid. Ba-na-na-na-na. Like, it just flips to the.
What a fantastic ending this would be. Now, unfortunately, the Autobots like pledge their loyalty to this kid and help him go rescue his dad. Which, whatever, I guess.
The only other thing is that we've got another Megatron
Yes,
transformation
number
here
5,
where he
thank
turns
you.
into
Good.
a jet,
Yep.
which to me just looked like a huge purple dick. Like,
Yeah, from the
it's
side, the
like-
profile was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I could see that.
And this is what he uses. Apparently, this was the only transformation he could use to like use his fucking tractor beam or whatever the hell it was to actually pick the doctor up. and
You'd really
transport
think
him.
with the hand he could just like blimp, but
But you know what? Again, like we're talking about like these mechanisms that they have, but we just explained that a fist shot off the back of a fire truck
Yeah.
and Megatron stared it down. And in this
Took it right in the
moment,
chops too.
right in this moment, we have Megatron shooting a tractor beam down to pick up to pick up this doctor, and everybody's just standing there just looking at it, and he's talking and monologuing and like, I'm gonna take your dad and I'm gonna find out the secrets of the earth and the energy and ha 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 ha. And I'm like, dude, everybody's got a gun right now. Everybody's got a gun.
Everybody.
Somebody take a pot. Somebody take one shot. One shot.
Just one
Yeah.
shot. One
Ugh.
punch. But no, they don't. Unfortunately, they
Great series.
So it
Yeah.
just sets up the rest of the probably terrible series. How do we know if it's a terrible series? I feel like we've only watched the first episode, so maybe somebody else out there has watched it.
Let's get
You mean there might be a robust online community of adults who have very strong opinions about this?
Possible, as long as they have a life, I guess.
let's get into it. We have opinions, but obviously there are people on the internet who have other opinions, and so
The
let's-
opinion harder.
Let's jump into these opinions that we have. I think Dave, you're doing this first one.
Yeah, I'll grab the first one, and then once we read these two, which are fun, we're going to go back around this little group here and give you our opinions and possible recommendations. Oh, and Charlie, I don't know if you're aware, but on this show, we decide whether or not the series we just watched gets the dip, which is a nod back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, in which if you give a show the dip, that means you drop it into basically a barrel of waste that erases it from existence forever. So think about that as we go through these reviews.
Okay.
All right, so the first user review is from Kirk Becker. I won't give you his email, even though he supplied it to IMDb. This is from January of 2002. It is titled, "Looks like some of you people need a new life." Kirk sounds fun.
Ouch.
Let's see what Kirk's up to. This one was heavily edited because it was very long and rambly. Here's what Kirk says. I don't understand why a lot, spelled one word, of people are bashing robots in disguise. I am one of the biggest fans of the original Transformers series, and I know this doesn't compare to the original, but you can take it many ways. Try this on for size. Here's where I edited because he just rambles about his plot theories for another 3 or 4 paragraphs. So the lines can be a little cheesy, and some of the names are kind of blah, but some other great anime have been known to have some bad names, i.e. Ranma one half, right? Ranma 1/2? With shampoo, cologne, and mousse? Don't get me wrong, I love Ranma 1/2, but a name is a name. This new show is not as bad as some people think. It was made to target kids. Now, if you have to sit there and write 500 words to explain why you don't like this show, you definitely need to get a life. Yeah, I'm sitting here writing this, but I do other things besides spending all my time engrossed in bashing kiddie shows. It's a kiddie show, so get over it. The end. Thanks, Kirk.
He's like, hey, wait a minute. As he's writing this, he's like, oh no, I've become everything I've ever hated.
I've wasted my
better
life.
quickly defend myself.
A lot of self-awareness in this, this review.
I love seeing that happen as he writes, though. It's fantastic.
He's like, oh God.
Good job, Kirk. I hope you're in a better place.
Oh, God. All right, let's get into the second one. This is from Max Zorin from San Francisco City College.
I was hoping it was City College.
And this is from November 2001. So the title is, as Sean Connery would say, losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and bleep the prom queen.
We haven't figured out what bleep is yet, so if you guys have any suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, please light that up in the comments for us.
Yeah. You guys have been bleeping prom queens. We want to know about it. Kind of interested. And I have to do this because this is all in caps. Robots in disguise, the Transformers! Why is everyone being so critical of this new series? Okay, so Optimus isn't a semi-truck. Big frickin' deal. You should be happy he's not a gorilla for once. Even though I had no problem with that. What would a semi-truck be doing hanging out with a rhino and a cheetah in a show that's called Beast Wars?
Very good point.
Optimus is still awesome. His new voice just fine, and he looks sweet.
Good job, Neil.
He's still a great leader and cares about his comrade. And leave Megatron alone. So what if he looks like a Terracon when he turns into the 2-headed dragon mode? His robot mode looks like the Epion Gundam from Gundam Wing. Just look at the two. They both turn into 2-headed dragons, for crying out loud. His voice is mean and a lot more threatening than people give credit. This is a part that we had to edit at the time. Who would sing? Who wouldn't like a singing Skybite? I don't even know the context.
No,
yeah, so it was edited
like one of the
just
breakout
to
characters from this, but we didn't meet him yet.
Okay.
All right, so who wouldn't like a singing Skybite? That's just the anime touch for you. A bit of silliness. If you ask me, this new series is just fine. Don't call it G1. Don't call it Beast Wars. It's its own entity. It's like Gundam Wing or Gundam X to Mobile Suit Gundam, an alternative universe series. Just kick back and have a few laughs.
Well, I'm glad we got another Gundam fan out there 16 years ago. But
I love that both of these guys just referenced other anime shows in order to talk about this anime show. I hope that Kirk and Max are like just chilling together at San Francisco City College. Just kicking back, having a few laughs, and like getting over it.
Getting over
it.
I don't feel like anybody's getting over any of this stuff. I feel like this is all contentious for them.
Well, let's see what Charlie had to say about this particular series. So, Charlie, A, would you recommend this for people out there to check out if they haven't seen it before? And then B, based on that, does it or does it not get the dip, which remember means erase it from existence?
Ooh, yeah. I would say like probs not. I would give it the dip.
You'd give it the dip.
You'd give it the dip.
Give it the dip. Yeah.
You think the world would be better off
having not a lot
of
context for this? Is that like a serious charge among you two? You're like, fuck.
We've only given it to one show before, but we've also only been doing it for like 5 weeks. So
I'm just casually dipping. No, I would still give it the dip.
You still give it the dip. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
so clearly not a recommendation there. Sean, what about you, buddy?
Def not.
I would not give it the dip,
okay.
But I don't know that I would recommend this series.
So it all comes down to me whether it gets dipped or not.
Yeah,
that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I can't because it's Neil Kaplan, near and dear friend of the show. But I also don't think it's that bad. I think you can look at it and say like, okay, this is a Japanese translation, so that's where a lot of the issues come from. But I think there's enough strong points here as far as the animation style, the character design for the most part. The story's a little goofy. It's definitely a lot more immature than some of the other stuff we've watched. But I think if you keep a target audience in mind, and it is part of the Transformers canon, maybe not officially, but it's in there. So I'd say don't give it the dip, and I would only recommend it if like you are trying to see every possible thing from Transformers ever. But don't search this one out expecting it to be like the best of the best. It's just a very weird version of it. It's way more in line with like a Digimon or a like a kid's.
Yeah, I would say that's a good comparison.
Yeah. Even the animation style felt like it. Like it felt like it could be in the same world.
It's like if there were larger robots in Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Yeah, something like that. It felt kind of like that. It felt way more kind of immature and for a younger group. So I wouldn't give it the dip. So we saved it. You're welcome, Neil. This one is still in existence, but definitely not like high on the list to seek out. So that's gonna do it for Transformers, whatever the hell the name of this series was.
Car robots.
Car robots. Transformers is the name of this show. So again, we want to thank Charlie for joining us his first time on Saturday Morning Cartoons.
Thank you, man.
Thank you guys
so
for
much.
having me.
This is the point of the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
We want to say thank you to Charlie. He made us this lovely. He asked us what our favorite Transformer was, and we said it was Rumble.
That's awesome.
And this will segue into some plugs.
Yeah.
Is that Charlie made us this fantastic picture of Rumble that we are digging on right now.
And it's
so
ours.
thank
You guys
again.
can't have it. So sorry about that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We're not gonna auction it off. It's totally ours. Going on Sean's something in a frame.
It's going
somewhere.
up on the wall.
Up on the
Nice.
wall.
It's going up the wall back here.
Rumble.
So.
Sorry, I had to. I love
Charlie,
Rumble.
I know. Rumble's so good. So Charlie, what do you have coming up? What do you have that you'd like to promote?
Yeah. So, given when this is coming out, I have an art show that'll be up for one more week at the DC Art Center in Washington, D.C. And then also I'm doing Adams Morgan Day, which is on September 11th also. Callback.
Ooh.
It's a bold choice, Charlie.
Sunday, September 11th. And if you're not in the DC area, you can always check out my stuff at www.visconage.com. And I update it pretty frequently, or on Instagram at CA Visconage.
How do we spell this?
Oh, yeah, Greg. Sorry, listeners, that one's up to you, because I don't want any of your traffic.
We will have this up on the website, but just in case anybody's listening.
It's Visconage.
Got it.
All right.
Visconage.
Yeah.
Visconage.
Cool.
All right, Sean,
Awesome.
buddy, what are
Thank
you
you,
up to?
Yeah,
We'll have that all up on the website, too. So like Sean said, you don't have to worry about hunting around for that. Just head on over to Saturday Morning Cartoons. We'll post that up for you.
Cool, thank you.
I am going to be doing some shows right now. We're on kind of a hiatus because we're gearing up for a show that's going to be coming up throughout the entire month of October and the beginning part of November at WIT that is called POTUS. It's a once every 4 year show that we do that makes fun of the entire election cycle. So this will be a blast to do given the current state of affairs that we see on the news every day. Other than that, I have a festival that is coming up that is actually going to be strangely the day right after the elections take place. It's the District Improv Festival. It's the 4th annual District Improv Festival. And you can find out more information at districtimprov.org. And as always, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Sean Paul Ellis.
Awesome.
Dave, what's going on with you, bud?
I just wanted to say real quick, listeners out there, if you're not happy with like Sean or myself as co-hosts of the show, there's really nothing you can do about it, except maybe like the Second Amendment people. Maybe you can do something about it, but other than that,
yikes.
I don't
Jesus,
know.
Dave.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So as for me, you can find me on Twitter at DrClawMD. You can also head on over to Collider.com, Nerdist.com, and DaveTrumbore.com for all my various written shenanigans. If you're interested in finding out more about Saturday Morning Cartoons, you can do so at our website, SaturdayMorningCartoons.com. Remember, that's morning with a U. You can also find us on Twitter at MorningTunes. Sean's been populating our Instagram page full of interesting images. Any more brazzers? Oh,
No, not right
No
now.
more
I
brazzers?
really love. I do want to give a special highlight to your Instagram account for the show. I think it's incredibly funny. All the like Brazzers things or the memes and stuff like that you do. I find them so funny.
Thanks, man.
I think our
put up-
brazzers images are my favorite thing we have there.
I put up today was a Throwback Thursday to the original Transformer human combination, Turbotine.
Oh no. Ugh. Just the worst. Our first ever episode. A little bit of trivia there
know.
for you. We also have our Facebook page, which you guys have been fantastic about. We're well over like 2,500, 2,600 likes now. We're trying to get
nice.
obviously higher and higher. So if you can, if you haven't liked the page, please do so. And if you have, feel free to share some content and encourage your friends to do so as well. So we really appreciate it. We love talking to you guys. We love your enthusiasm. So keep it up. We also have our YouTube account, and you can listen to our free audio podcast each and every week through iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. If you have any suggestions for future episodes or just like to give us a thumbs up, let us know how we're doing, feel free to drop us an email at SaturdayMorningCartoons@gmail.com. That's going to do it for Transformers Car Robots / Robots in Disguise. We've got one more Transformers series coming up in the month of August, Transformers month, and that is Transformers Combiner Wars. Now, again, you can watch that on Go90 right now. They're short episodes, about 5 minutes long, but we're going to knock them all out for you next week on Saturday Morning Cartoons. Again, thanks to Charlie for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks to Sean as always. And I'm Dave Trumbore. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next time.
Hey, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening to Saturday Morning Cartoons. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to transform and roll out.